the best coaches in the game. We really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block, helmet's casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many.
Good morning, DFS Army. It's Craig Bennett, a.k.a. Cash Cade, coming at you here for another podcast, another quick hitter. Going to talk about something that's on my mind. Seen it over Slack, over chat the last couple days, and you see it a lot. And something we should touch on, and it's investing in your DFS game. It's like investing in anything in life. If you're going to invest in the stock market, if you're going to invest in your kids playing sports, if you're going to invest in anything, it doesn't matter what it is. Set yourself up for success. Don't be playing behind the power curve. And it's extremely important, first, to identify what your game is. And then put the tools behind you. And we have all the tools you need at DFS Army to succeed. But are you a single entry kind of guy? Are you a multi-entry kind of guy? And the big thing I want to preach on, talk about, and discuss is I see so many people try to MME on their cell phones. So many questions. Cell phones can be fantastic for reading information. Want to go to DFS Army, want to read some articles? Fantastic for that. Really is. You want to run the domination station on it real quick to see what's spitting out on your phone, just to kind of see a lineup, what's it pushing? Fantastic. Well, let me tell you, if you're trying to run 150 lineups and do CSV copies on your cell phone, you're not setting yourself up for success. You're playing with basically one arm tied behind your back. You're going up against guys that are invested in this. They're taking the time, have setups to MME. To do it properly, you need a desktop or a laptop. I'm not saying you need 6 monitors. I'm not saying you need, awesome hardware, but at least invest a little bit if that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to get your MME game up strong, I'm not saying you can't be profitable going from your phone. I'm just saying it's an uphill battle. And if you really want to be good in DFS long-term and profitable, invest in yourself. Invest in a little resources. Get yourself a desktop or a laptop if you're serious about doing this. If you're a single entry guy and you're just doing cash lineups, your phone will work fantastic for that. No problem. You can read everything you need to read in there, set up your lineups. Very easy. I still prefer desktops for everything. That way I can put up a bunch of information and read it. But I don't think you're quite as handicapped going up against other guys using desktops with multiple monitors and single entry. You can obtain all the information, make your notes, whatever you need to do to get your single entry lineups out there and your cash lineups. But maxing these 150 lineups and then trying to do them from your cell phone, I'm telling you, man, there's just a lot of people out there that don't want to take the time to invest. If you're playing big money, then really think about taking the time, put together a good rig, put together a good space, have a process set up. It's not always just the setup that you have when it comes to computers or your monitors or anything like that. The time commitment. I know not everybody can do it, and a lot of it's a hobby. I'm not speaking just to that, but if you really want to be on top of your game, to take the time. All the videos, podcasts that we put out, cheat sheets, articles, taking the time to ask questions, all the people in the chat. Your time and effort should be commensurate with the amount of money that you're playing. So if you're playing more and more money and you want to make this a second income or profitable for the year, you got to invest in your DFS game, man. It's like anything else, Nothing's easy in life. You're not going to be able to just slide in 5 minutes before lock. Sure, you can build lineups. Sure, you might win every now and again. And if you don't have a lot of time and it's just a hobby, I highly recommend just making that one single cash lineup if you're using your cell phone. It's just take a step back, with everything going on right now in life. Take a step back and then just first identify what kind of player you want to be. If it's a hobby, don't mind this podcast. If it's something that you're really pushing towards to make a second income and be profitable long term, and it's something you want to strive to have a big bankroll and to play bigger and bigger contests and bigger head-to-head games, bigger GPP tournaments, you got to put the time in. I really think there's no other place out there in the DFS community that has the amount of tools you get at DFS Army when it comes to everything. And taking the time to absorb all that information, ask the right questions, you'll have a much better experience and you'll be profitable long term. But again, that's like anything in life. It's just not DFS. If that's something you really, really want to focus on, you have to put the time in. You have to put the time in. And what made me really want to talk about this podcast again was I see a lot of people struggle doing the multi-entry lineups on a cell phone. And it's not the way to go. It really isn't. If you want to do it for fun and run 150 and throw them up there to have something to look at, okay. But if you're trying to be profitable long term, I highly recommend not going that route. Buy something. There's even if you want to start just with a Chromebook, something cheap that you can mess around with, carry around that's inexpensive. Or if you find you just an inexpensive desktop, put a little RAM in it, and then find you a couple used monitors and you have the 2 monitors set up. You'll see how much more efficient you are going that route than having your cell phone trying to MME, especially when you get close to lock, especially in some of the sports like we have late scratches in NBA. It's way easier to MME having a desktop. And I know you're going to have some guys, Cash Cake, no, I've been doing it for years. I'm good at it. Then keep on trucking, man. If you think that you are more efficient on your cell phone and you're good at it, think about how good you would be if you had a desktop where you're able to sit down and you had a space for that. And again, not everybody's going to have that. And maybe that's when you need to say, okay, maybe I don't need to MME as much and need to focus on these single entry lineups or maybe 3 max where I can do everything on my cell phone. I don't need that space because I don't have it. But you have to understand you are competing a bunch of guys that have that space, that have invested in their DFS game. They have the tools. And even though you have your tools at your fingertips with DFS Army and everything there, you still have to have your process, what works for you. And I really think that taking the time to reflect a little bit, sit back, first identify that player you want to be, then ask questions. If you're not exactly sure what you think you should get, ask me in chat, man. Hit me up. I'm more than happy to try to help you. If it's a computer question, you want to know what a great setup would be. If it's time commitment you think it is. I mean, like when you're talking about, if you just want to compare, say, let's just say NBA. NBA is coming back July 31st. Thank you. So excited for that. But let's use that as an example. I don't just run the domination station if I'm running, say, 50 lineups. Remember, 50 is the new 150. We talked about that on a pod a couple days ago. If you haven't listened to it, make sure you get over there and listen to it. 50 is the new 150. Running 50 lineups, right? I'm not just going to casually come in 10 minutes before lineup block and think I'm going to have the most optimal strategy in my mind. Not everybody's going to have the time. I understand that, time is precious. It really is. And we all don't have the time to sit there. But if you're going to take some time to MME long term and just invest in that time. Try to find it. If you just want to do single entry, to me, the single entry cash lineup, you don't need that much time. If you don't have a ton of time, I can build a great cash lineup with all our tools in every sport within 10 minutes. But I can't absorb all the information that I need to absorb in an MME type style of, say, 50 lineups within 10 minutes to really have an understanding of ownership projections, or where they're at, where things are changing on a constant basis. And to be trying to do that on my cell phone, I can't see chat in one window here where I can see what's going on. I can read that. I can have my tweet deck up, see what's going on there. I can take notes and figure out where I'm going to leverage ownership at. And then start messing with the domination station. Mess with that optimizer and figure out that, okay, I've ran these 50 lineups. I'm not getting as much of this guy. I probably spend 3 to 4 hours a day if I MME to do it properly, to really leverage spots that I really want to try to get over the field on. And again, if I don't feel like I have that time, I'm not going to commit myself, because if I want to do something, I want to make sure that I'm 100% committed that night. And I have 100%, I'm not just throwing money to the wind and hoping that I hit something. Will it work sometimes? Sure. I'm not saying it won't. But if you're talking long-term profitability, you need that time. Time to sit there and do the MME. And again, like I said, I know we all don't have that time. That's why I think if you don't have as much time, that single entry cash lineup mentality is way better. But if you're going to MME, go to your desktop. Please stop trying to do it on your cell phone. It's just an uphill climb. And those guys that have invested in their DFS game and have put a little bit of time aside to do it, they're going to be profitable long term. It's like anything else. I can't just dive into the stock market and think I'm going to be profitable long term. I wouldn't try to day trade on my cell phone. And again, food for thought. Again, just thought I'd throw that out there. Something I see a lot. And if you want to take your game to the next level, we have all the tools out there. But think about investing in your DFS game when it comes to your time and your platform. Cell phones are not really made for 150 lineups. The tool's there to do it, but long term, it's best that you're running things from a desktop. With that, hope you enjoy your day. Appreciate each and every one of you. Love you guys. And I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces.